me. In any case, I want to welcome you to the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, my friend. How are you doing?
Fine, fine. Thank you. Thank
Right.
you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So, by way of introduction, folks, Ulysses and I, we see each other on the circuit, on the seminar circuit all the time, in different places. In fact, off camera, we were talking about possibly meeting up in April in Atlanta, but I don't think I'll do that. So we'll see each other in September for sure, right?
Yes.
When next are you going out to the Inosanto? Do you go to the instructor conferences? I'm not sure if I've seen you there.
I saw you last October
Ah,
briefly.
okay,
It
okay,
was the first time no, I probably saw you, but yeah, I go in October.
okay,
This year I'm trying to go more. I'm gonna see if I can make it in the summer as well. We'll see.
right, yeah, yeah, because we let's see, 2 years in a row, I think we saw each other in Dallas, correct?
More than that, I saw you in Jacksonville so many years, so many times.
Right, that's true, right?
I have a funny
But
story for you.
well,
Go ahead.
actually, I have something to ask you again by way of introduction. Um, you know Matt Stumpf, right? Matt and
Sure,
Jenny. Okay.
sure, sure.
So then I take it that your situation with Sifu and Asano is similar to theirs because Sifu Dan will ask you, where are you living now, right?
He did. He did. Yes. Yes. That's right. That is right.
And that's because in the past, what, you moved around so much?
Yes, that is correct.
Ah,
That is correct. That is correct. Yeah, that was around 2008, 9, and 10. He told me, "Ulises, where are you living now?" And I go, "Well, Guru, I'm in Georgia. It's hard to keep track of you." And he's going, "Sorry, Guru."
right.
But he did
Yeah.
it. You know him. You know him. He was just being cool.
Yeah. Because Matt and Jen, I think, what is it? They've been to 20 something different states, right?
Yes, yes. Actually, I was doing that and Matt passed me. I was quietly one of those, and then he passed me. Before him, I was going everywhere.
Right. But you started out where? In Indiana?
Yes, the first one was in 1990 in Indianapolis, and
Okay.
that's when I first saw Guru Dan, and I just went like, "Whoa!" I said, I just went like, "Oh, I
Hmm.
cannot get this. There's too much
Yeah.
information." So
What?
after that, I went to Chicago, I went to Waterloo, those
Okay.
three,
Yeah.
and then I went a couple of times, two, three times, maybe more, Michigan. I started to go in the 90s, yes. All the way in Dayton. He used to go to Dayton. I went to Dayton because I lived in Dayton. And that's where also I met Herman Suwanda
Hmm.
and Shannon. Beautiful people, beautiful people. So that is why. And then, gosh, then I've been to, Jacksonville because I have family in Melbourne, Florida.
Okay.
So of course I never got to Miami. I think you're hosting it. And of course, let me see, Waterloo, Indiana, Chicago. Then, of course, when Jeff had him in Evansville, of course, that was just 3 hours from here. St.
Right.
Louis, when I lived in St. Louis, of course, that was, oh man, I don't have to travel. Of course, LA lately. Uh, First time I went to the academy was in, I think, 98,
Okay.
98, when I was traveling back from Mexico. And that's when first time I met Guru Joel. He was explaining how to make sure someone doesn't oompa you on the ground and doing so. This is not legal. So in legal as in fighting,
Right. Yeah.
So as in MMA rules. Let's see, Louisiana. Let me see. Where is it? Where is Trident Martial Arts? Is that Virginia?
Trident, that's Pat Trey's thing. That's Virginia. Yeah.
That's Virginia. I went there. I went to Philadelphia. Let's see, Spain, 2006. Yeah, that was a cool one.
Okay.
In Spain, I got to translate for him during the seminar when people were asking me questions. That was
Oh,
nice.
nice,
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
Louisiana also. What else? You name it. Oh, Arkansas,
Whoa.
Tulsa. Yeah, I went to
Okay. Okay.
Fayetteville, and
That's Mark McFan, right?
that was McFan,
Okay.
and that was let's see, Oklahoma. Who else? I'm just going by memory here, but I wrote it down. I wrote it
Uh-huh.
down because I just wanted to remember. I'm leaving some states out.
Right.
I'm sure, but Illinois, of course, St. Louis. Uh, bu- 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 I have to think about the others, but
Yeah.
Michigan for sure, Detroit with Dave
Well,
Hatch.
well, we talked
Dave
about
Hatch.
it. We talked about it, so you didn't mention it, but Texas.
Oh, Dallas. You realize I went to
Right.
Wichita Falls when Harley,
Uh-huh.
and then of course Dallas. Yeah, several
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Once in Dallas, that might have been around 2011, also 2009, and he started to demonstrate knife with me. And
Uh-huh.
then he was doing something like panastas, and I went there, and he cornered me, and I went back, and then I just realized that I was against a step, and I glanced at it, and I looked at him, and I smiled, and he got me, he cornered me, he knew it, and he smiled at me. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
You tell the story in 1990 when you first met him that you kept calling him master, right?
Yes,
Now
yes,
that's probably because of your previous training, right? Because you trained in like
correct.
Taekwondo and Tang Soo Do and that type of
Uh-huh,
stuff. Yeah.
yes, yes. I came from that background.
Right.
I was doing more kickboxing and all that. And but I just saw and I just went like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is the real Bruce Lee people. And I
Right.
just went like, whoa. And I was still almost, let's see, I was still in college. I was doing my master's.
Okay.
And he blew me away. And he was like 55 back then.
Right.
And he was fast. And the
Yeah.
seminars were very fast. I
Yes.
remember I was told if you are able to retain 10% of that seminar, consider yourself lucky.
Yeah.
And then they were, I don't know if you were there, but I just saw a bunch of people. That was Bruce Sobel was hosting him. And that was another one that I didn't know. I just didn't know anybody. And I just felt cool. My workout partner, Jim Williams out of Terre Haute, good friend.
Yeah.
And I just went like, whoa, man. It's like we were kickboxers. We just like rounds, you know, and we went at it every.
So a couple of things come out of that for me. One, when you call him master and he says, I'm not a master, what did that tell you about his personality?
Right there, you know, when you're young, you don't quite catch the magnitude of things, you know.
Okay.
I just went like, you know, and then I talked it over with my workout partner, Jim. Did you see that? He told me, Ulises, you know what I think? We should tell him. He called him Danny. I didn't do that. And I said, Danny, if you're not a master, who is? But I never dared to say that. I kept calling him master throughout the whole seminar. That's the first time I met Guru Simo Paula,
right?
And who is one of my. He helped me with the trapping back then.
But so then later on, years later, did you reflect on that now that you're older and go, oh, that's what was going on when he said, I'm not a master?
Yeah, I didn't reflect back. It kind of I look back, I just happened to remember that over the years I understood, but over the years our perspective on things change, on Jeet Kune Do and all that.
Right.
And by the way, I forgot to, that's not the introduction I wanted to say. I wanted to, before we continue, I wanted to thank you, because after I started to follow you and I realized your depth into Jeet Kune Do and Bruce Lee, and I've been teaching Jeet Kune Do since 2009, I was thinking, if I call myself a Jeet Kune Do instructor, I should be able to talk more proper about this and push the Jeet Kune Do and realize that it's a wonderful system. It's a great system and it's very effective. And I have to go back, and you, listening to you and talking to you, finally, after so many years and so many seminars, I went back to my notes. Oh, wait a minute, I have to. So I even changed my curriculum and my approach, and I'm now teaching more the essence, what I call the essence of the system. And I want to thank you for that.
Well, that's what I'm supposed to do. You know,
Yeah.
otherwise I'm just making a lot of noise. I'm just talking a lot, but not being meaningful. Right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm very interested in your development then, as somebody who the first seminar, you're like, wow, what is this? Tell me how, well, first, why did you go back? Why did you go to a second seminar?
Looking back, I just was in awe, you know, wow, just for who he was. I saw him and I just go, whoa, he's like,
Yeah.
This is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
You know, the Bruce Lee people, you know, if I would have known that earlier, I would have started earlier. Of course, I was still young, I realized, but it's what I was looking for. And I was just going like, it would be cool to learn all this. The Silat, he was doing the Burst Silat and the Malaysian, and he was in the reverse Putter Kapala and all that. The Kali was super fast, the knife, you know, and the John Fan Gun Fu. And I just went like, whoa, you know, it's like, this is a part of me said, this is too much. I will never get this. I got an instantaneous barrier.
Right.
I don't know if it was out of humility, I don't know what it was, but I just felt, whoa, this is too much. I thought I was a good martial artist. I was wrong.
No. But you know, that reminds me of the story that Sifu Dan tells about meeting Bruce Lee for the first time. And he says that it's like being in a job for a long time, and then they tell you there's no more need for this job. That's how he felt. He says that's how he felt. He felt like he had been doing all this stuff. He had been training in martial art for a while, and along comes this kid, and it's like all of that gets blown away to a certain extent. You know, but of course, his previous experience and who he is as an athlete, for example, all of that did ultimately benefit him in his association with Bruce Lee. You know what I mean?
I do.
Right? So yeah. So let's see, because I made some notes on the stuff that you had sent me, right? Let's do this one. The Indonesia thing. What the heck were you thinking about? Right? Because you actually traveled to Indonesia to research and train in Pencak Silat, right? And that's something that a lot of people will talk about, but they never do.
Twice now. The last time was last August.
Okay. So what did that experience change anything about how you understood the material? Like, was there a difference in how it's taught there versus how it's taught here in the West? Anything like that?
Yes. For one thing, you get the feeling of you're going to the source, you know.
Okay.
Remember what Guru Dan teaches us: to understand the martial art, you got to understand the culture. See, so there's that element there. So also get again to that was I think it was 2006, 2007 when I went, and I got to visit different villages, and they let me film. I had that footage, and I saw their systems. I saw the long forms, the kembangas, and I was one interesting thing. Well, I don't want to deviate. But yes, the feeling was that I was going to the source, and I wanted to train in Indonesia because I've always been very fascinated and intrigued by the Silat system, Pencak Silat.
Okay.
In Indonesia, Silat is understood in Indonesia as martial arts. Pencak Silat is what we call Silat.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Mm-hmm.
so but training that it's a different feeling, understanding the culture, and just training all the time, and going to the neighboring villages and seeing them practice from little kids all the way to adults,
Right.
doing the same forms, and of
Right.
course it accelerated my Silat progression. See, so it was I enjoyed that very much.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Out of all the arts we practice, the most ancient is Silat. It goes back to Alexander the Great, right?
Mm-hmm.
As Guru Dan has explained. I think Herman Suwanda explains it in his book as well.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, Silat was truly a very interesting art.
Okay.
And it has many dimensions, not only the physical, but I don't want to get into that, but all those dimensions, being exposed to that was important to me.
Right. What did it give you an appreciation then for what Sifu Inosanto has done in terms of how he presents Silat?
At the time or now?
Now.
Now it all fits. Now, to me, I see the value on everything, you know, and not yet to get the gloves, you and I, but your questions are like not monodimensional, okay? Your questions are multidimensional. So that's what I say. Oh man, when I say what's he asking? But I'm gonna try to keep it one dimension. Now I look at what Guru teaches, and it meshes perfectly with all the juros that I have learned, with the Mandimura system, with the Panglipur system, which I'm learning. That's the Cheshire Arif Rahman system. Okay. And Silat to me is like JKD. It's all part of the same thing. So the way Guru teaches is Guru is teaching you the applications with the Mafilindo and the Majapahe. Okay? No juros, no forms.
Right.
Okay. And yet, if I take the series when we go enter on the jab, enter on the hook, enter on the kick, and then go into the beset, as you know, go into the chair, go into all the takedowns, go into around and go again. If you do those without a partner, you are automatically creating a juro.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
You see? And that's what people, I hate forms. I respect all that. And Guru told us just in October, he just told us, I don't have time to teach the juros. You see? He said, I know them, and I know he knows them. He learns them. Come on, Guru, you learn them. Teach it to us.
He should. Right. He should.
He said, I don't have time. The same is true with the Pekiri Tirsha 64 step. Not too many people remember that. You know it.
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
Because I never trained. Yeah, I never trained Pekiri Tirsha, like pure Pekiri Tirsha. Like I never trained it.
I teach the 64 step, and no one progresses until they know the 64 step.
Okay, yeah.
My Alexander tries to, he ignored it, but some of my students, the 64 step is an index, okay? It's 64 techniques that covers several different ranges and techniques and systems of Kali.
Right.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, that's back to the Silat. Yeah. It's just so Guru teaches the application, okay? And all same applications, you find this in the juros. Okay, if I extract the applications from the juros and just practice the applications, then I'm in Guru Dan's realm. Mafilindo is his system, and that's what he did. He just teaches the applications, but you have to know it, and that is okay. To me, that it blends perfectly with my form, so I teach both. I just tell them, right now you're in this system, right now you're in this system, right now you're in Mafilindo, and this is how you put them together. It doesn't matter, because at the end, What you're gonna do is what's available at the time. I may have a lot of techniques, Guru. I may have a lot of Ulises, you should reject what is useless. Wait a minute. We do that every time we have, and I hope not, a confrontation. When you are in as difficult situations, and I hope we're not, what you're gonna revert to, what's gonna come to your mind. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, don't attack me, don't rob me yet. Let's see, I'm gonna do judo number 1, and I'm gonna mix with my filinda, I'm gonna punch you, I'm gonna kick you. No, your brain is gonna come to what comes faster, according to what he's giving you.
Right.
And it might be as simple as we know as a jab, a punch, a knee, or if he grabs me, I might flow naturally without thinking about it into a silat move. So that, to me, rejecting what is useless, it is situational. Not necessarily, because if we keep rejecting what's useless, we're going to go with one technique, number 8, over the head. Like Guru said, that guy who won a tournament just with number 8, see? So that's kind of the way I see it. I just love knowledge, and I love learning. But yes, make no mistake, when I teach the self-defense seminars, this is what you're going to do and nothing else, because people don't know.
I never understood why it is people think that if you study multiple things, that's not a way to discover what works for you. And then when you discover what works for you, that's what those become, as the cliche is, those become your go-to techniques, right? And that's how you discover them. You discover them by training a broad spectrum, okay? And then you find certain things, and then instead of continuing to go broad, now you go deep, and that's how you end up knowing what works for you. So that's the absorbing what is useful.
And thanks to you again, I said, whoa, when I started to listen to you, Guru, it's not because of this and all that. It's just like, man, am I behind in my homework? You reminded me that I haven't done my homework. That's the story of my life, I guess. And as exactly now that I know that it wasn't C.J. Bruce who came up with absorb what useful, etc. Now I can comment on it. You see, I changed mine in my shirt, for that reason, because I wanted to respect and it resonated with me. It's something that I heard from Guru. It's like, I changed mine like must learn from many sources is what my slogan is. Learn from many sources. Retain what works, discard what doesn't work, but learn it first. And I tell them, if it doesn't work for you, why bother? I'm going to tell you why. Basic intel. It might work for your opponent. I don't know how to do it. It doesn't work for me, but I know what's he coming against me with. See, to me, discard what is useless to you, but learn it first. If you don't learn it first, you won't know if it works for you or not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's like you said, it's intel, right? You have to know what it is that people out there are doing so that you can have a plan to counter what they're doing. And what's the best way to learn what they're doing? By studying it.
Exactly, sir.
Right? Because I mean, any art that is worth its weight in gold, they will have their attacking techniques, but then they will also have the techniques that defend or counter those techniques. So you go and you study it with them. They're the best at what they do. So you study it with them to add that to your store of knowledge. I mean, doesn't that make sense to me?
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Right. So I don't understand. You mentioned something about whether I forget what it is that you said, but what it clicked for me was that you had said in the stuff you sent to me that because you were moving around so much, you think that may have delayed what was it that it delayed your development in martial art? Is that what it was you said?
Not that, but it did delay my progression when it comes to certifications.
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay.
Because I got to work very good with an instructor, and then I move away.
Right. Yeah.
So I just kind of like, I'm sorry though. Every time I once told Guru, because Guru trained with the best,
Hmm.
and we know, and then I told Guru at a much lesser scale, I was forced to do the same. I was forced to train with different people because I had to move for work. So wherever I went, I tried to find an instructor, and that's what I
Right.
did. And that was the best thing that could happen to me, martial arts wise.
Mm.
I didn't progress as fast.
Hmm.
It took me longer than everybody else. But the only constant was that I kept going to the seminars over the
Right.
years. That's
Yeah.
why I did it, especially after 2001 when I was in Memphis. That's the other one. When I was in Memphis, and I started teaching Kali for a friend to help him
Uh-huh.
in his school. I just made the decision. How am I gonna do this if I keep moving? I go, wait a minute, genius. How about going to every single seminars? I just didn't know where they were, because remember, back then they were not posted. They didn't advertise the seminars that much. It was locally advertised.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, because my seminar thing was in the 80s and 90s when we still had magazines, and
Wow.
that's how you would find out about stuff, because there were pages and pages of event listings, right? But I do want to ask you something though about um certification, right? So because you're moving around, it takes you longer to become certified or what have you. But do you think that that might actually have been a good thing, because what you're getting is the actual experience versus a title, or a rank, but you're training. You see what I'm saying? Because do you think that sometimes the whole title and rank is overemphasized versus the actual experience thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In my case, one of my instructors told me, like, "Hey, don't worry about ranks, worry about learning." I said, I agree. So
Right.
my first system, when I was in college, I progressed very fast. I had very good kicks. And, like you, I used to jump and do the flying side kick and break boards on the air,
Yeah.
etc. I
Yeah.
loved it. We all loved it. But then I was ready to become a black belt. And I just thought to myself, wait a minute, what is to me becoming a black belt was serious stuff. And I saw the other black belts, they're very good, but would they survive in a
Mm,
real life situation?
mm.
I talked to one of the masters, one of the Taekwondo masters out of Arizona, and I asked him that question. He told me, look, you got to know, I know a student who actually tried to do that in the street, and they put him in a garbage can, he lost.
Mhm.
And so I was very mindful of, I was not bad. I consider myself that I could be a black belt, but I was kind of a hesitant. Can I really handle myself if
Right.
something gets real? I could kick on a little bit, and that's when I started to do the kickboxing and that in Evansville. And that when I started to do my kickboxing, right there, I started to see when I spar with pure Taekwondo that I was getting the upper hand just with the boxing. So I
Okay.
say, oh man, boxing stays. Okay.
Right.
Then I got exposed to the weapons. And then the more I got exposed, okay, can I
Ah,
handle myself? And
right.
because of that, I didn't care about the certification.
Right.
But to teach, and even though I thought I was okay, and the people who told me don't worry about the ranks, they were pursuing ranks. So as a young man, I said, well, something doesn't.
Yeah. But I think I see what was going on. So perhaps even unconsciously, it's effectiveness is the underlying thing that you were actually pursuing, even if you weren't necessarily like fully aware, you know, because that's what it sounds like to me. So then I'm not surprised if ultimately you go to check out Dan Inosanto. You go to see what this Jeet Kune Do thing is all about.
A big part of it, but let's be honest, the big thing is that I was with the Bruce Lee guild and I was happy. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Something that I like to tell people, as a kid, my brother and I used to watch Batman with Adam West. And as a boy, I felt cheated. Okay, even though I was a child, I read the comics and I would look at Batman was this tough guy, and I would look at Adam West. That's not Batman. and then one day we see this TV show, and there's this black car from the 60s that actually stops. And there's this guy dressed as a gangster with a hat and a mask. And here comes the driver, and the driver kicks butt. And then my brother and I look at each other and go, whoa, that's real.
Right.
And that, of course, changed my life. So wow. Guru Dan was that. Guru Dan was that. And that was the main.
Right. Okay, so tell me how that happened. So you and your brother see Bruce Lee as Kato in the Green Hornet. So how do you get from there to checking out Dan Inosanto?
It was always in the back of my mind. As I started to learn martial arts, I would hear of Bruce Lee, and then we would talk about Bruce Lee, but it was something so far from me. So far, it's like, wow, that is like major leagues. I'm here down here just playing A or amateur, if at all, college ball. Right. So so that's how I saw it. So it was always in the back of my mind, you know. When I moved to Evansville and was for college, that's when I heard about Guru Dan, and he was close. And I go, what? He comes to Indianapolis? You should go. And then that's the rest, of course, is history.
Right. Yeah. With your, but again, that's why I said what I said earlier. It seems to me that there was something going on in the back of your mind all this time. So it sounds to me like if in Evansville, now it came to the front of your mind. You know, let me go check out this Inosanto guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you discover Dan Inosanto, and he's teaching all this stuff besides the Bruce Lee stuff, what did you think?
As a young man, I didn't question anything. He knows best. Still, I feel that way, and I'm not as young.
Right. Huh.
I just felt that if they were doing that, and I didn't question.
Right.
That we saw the John Fan Kung Fu. Actually, the John Fan Kung Fu said, okay, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do, but when I saw what happens if it's like my workout partner and I said, you know what? If they tell me choose your weapon, I'll grab the stick. Because Kali is impactful. And
Right.
no pun intended. Kali was amazing. I just go, wow, I like Kali.
Huh.
And then the seal, I said, how are you doing that? You said,
Right.
and I said, no, I want that too. And then the fact that Guru Dan was teaching it, I would say, why not?
Right.
It's an ambitious path, but I will
Right.
follow it.
Wait,
You know
okay,
something?
I wonder if I dare ask you this question, because you just said I didn't question Dan Inosanto. I wonder if I dare I ask you, well, how do you feel about people who do question Dan Inosanto?
Well, it depends. It depends how they do it. I think that we live in days that are kind of different, for a
Mhm.
lack of a better word. I think that debate, exchange, discussions, arguments, okay, are healthy. If
Yeah.
provided that we know what the objective of an argument is, or a discussion. The
Mhm.
objective of even an argument or a discussion when the exchange of ideas start to flow and you elevate to dissertation, what we're after, what are we after? The truth. If that is our goal, then most definitely you can question anything you want.
Right.
It's your prerogative. Now, if you're just questioning things for other reasons, you know, or maybe your reasons are to, I don't know, not, let's say that your reasons are those different from pursuing truth, pursuing knowledge, then I would say that your question is not healthy for the other person. It's not healthy for you either. That's how I truly feel. But I always felt that, you know, some of the people that I work with, one instructor told me once that, you know, my way of arguing was a little bit strong, just like my Kali when I practice. I didn't mean it in that way. It's just that I just like to exchange ideas, and one question will lead to another one. That's how it's a form of learning. We learn from the people we meet, we learn from the books we read, and we learn from watching others living, including animals. So that's how we learn. So that's how I look at it. Now, when they question Guru Dan, as I said, it depends what the ultimate objective is, and we can tell. See,
yeah.
It's like I question my instructors, and throughout my years got me into trouble because it was my engineering. It was not that I meant any disrespect. When they would say, "Hey, this is awesome," I would look at it. That's basic geometry, you know. To me, that's basic physics. So that's not challengement, you know. It's like you see. So on that light, when people question Guru Dan, it depends on the subject. Depend of the. I have to hear the specifics, you know. If you're going to question me about Bruce Lee, well, that's tough. I have one of his magazines from the 90s says in one article, he goes, "I don't care what they say. I was there. They were not." And it's true.
Right. Yeah.
So what's there is like me teaching. I'm not going to, now I can, you know, I don't think that it depends on the person for me to say if they're questioning for what reason, what's your motive. And that's obvious the way the idea flows.
Yes. Some of them are not even smart enough to hide their intentions, you know, in what they're doing. So you just brought up the engineering background and what have you. I mean, and this is what advanced mathematics and fluid mechanics and thermodynamics and all this stuff. What I'm curious about is the engineering mindset. Does that shape, or did it shape how you look at martial art training in general or even specifically?
Both. Oh, tremendously.
Yeah.
As I told you, it caused me troubles with some of my instructors. I didn't know that they probably resented me, but I didn't mean anything. To me, it was obvious, you know. To me, engineering is. Let me backtrack. Education, university, college, supposedly they're going to teach you tools, intellectual tools. When, how, and where you use those tools is up to you, and it's called wisdom. Right? Tell me, how is that different from martial arts?
Right.
Tools, when, how, and where you use them is up to you. So on that regard, I saw so many similarities. And when Guru was talking, yeah, of course. And people go, "Whoa, I cannot believe it." And I would look at them. That's simple physics. That's simple chemistry. You know, even the acupuncture points, and you know acupuncture. I don't know if acupuncture works. Okay. So do the pressure points. Are the same points. You know, it's the yin and yang. You can use the points to heal or to destroy. But to me, the engineering, no problem. But it did bring me trouble with. I think I found out later, because they didn't like my approach to the flow of ideas. I thought I was just exchanging information,
Mhm.
One of my instructors, he didn't have any problem with that. And he was the least schooled structural instruction.
Interesting.
And he was the least school, and he was the least threatened. He
Right.
just looked at me and said, Ulises, you're hard to teach. And I just went, oh. So look at it from this point of view. And I just went like, he described science without ever being exposed to science.
Right.
You know, he described stuff, and he and I just got along fine. And nothing that I said ever threatened him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's the common sense versus the book learning, as we would call it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever have that kind of discussion? That stuff that we're just talking about, the scientific aspects or whatever. Did you ever have that kind of discussion with Sifu Dan?
No, never get a chance.
No.
Never get a chance. Whenever I wanted to talk to him, of course, you know, there were people around him. And
Right.
even after over the years, I would love to have a chance just to sit down and talk to him. I got chances, but when I had the chance in the past, I didn't know what to say.
Right. Yeah.
And
Well,
now I just wish I could have the opportunity to sit down and just talk to him like
Yeah.
I'm talking to you.
Well,
that would be wonderful.
just remember, if you ever have the chance, don't hold back. Don't hold back, you know, because it's like he says, he doesn't have time to teach the Jurus, so you don't have time to hold back. You get a chance to talk to him. You got to put it out there. I used to like to interrupt. Like, you know how sometimes when he's teaching and he says, does anybody have any questions? And nobody asks a question. I used to like to interrupt with a question. You know, because
yeah.
that's how you learn more, you know.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I just over the years I just didn't want to come across as rude or something like that.
Yeah. So here's the thing that again, from the information you sent me, right? So you talked about a little bit about business and managing a company and tripling its revenue and what have you. So that's another thing, right? Because I'm always interested in hearing people's viewpoints on the business of martial art. So again, curiosity being my middle name. Any connections between, even if it's like leadership, for example, right? But any connections between successful business, successful martial art? I mean, obviously, if you run a school, if you own a school, it is a business, right? But any like standout episodes connecting business and martial art?
Cannot think directly. Well, I was working for that company because the owner needed my help. I was happy to do it, and he was one of my former students. So, but as far as leadership and all that, it would be a principle thing, and the principles are across, and how to run a business or your daily work. I know one of my instructors used to say, martial arts is life, is the same thing. When you start to approach life like martial arts, you'll see that it's the same. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because the principles are the same. See? So why do I, with that said, the business aspects, yes, you have to know business, and it gets tricky because with martial arts, it gets we want to do the best we can for the students, and at the same time we got to keep the door open. We got to keep that balance. Right. I tend to do good when I work for others. On my own, it's harder because of the way what martial arts meant to me when we were young. And I'm deviating a little bit, I apologize.
That's all right.
When we were young, Dwight, it was all about discovery, about learning and putting it all together, about doing the puzzle. Okay.
Okay.
But now that we're not as young, it's about the students. You see, it's about the students.
Right.
It's about actually sharing what we learn.
Right.
One of my instructors told me, Ulises, well, you have to share that knowledge. And I would say, what knowledge? And that was at the beginning of 2000. You know, it was in 2002, after the first camp when I met Sifu Fong. Actually, I went to that camp, and I came back and I was shaving in Memphis, and I just go, whoa! I remember the whole seminar. Before, it never happened. It just clicked. And I tell my students, just do it.
Right.
Do it. And you'll see, forget about it, and
Right.
it's going to come together. See, and that is something. I know I'm deviating from the business thing, but back to the business thing is principles. And what I got from there is the leadership, the communication, and the need to listen to be able to understand. That's a business principle, but tell me, how is that different from martial arts?
Right.
So
right.
many of us at the beginning, we didn't listen.
Yeah.
No one's going to teach me. I know my jab, I know my side kick, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But we learn more by listening, or we communicate better by listening than by talking.
Mm-hmm. You had mentioned off camera about going back to the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, right? And the reason why I'm thinking about that is because, like, I think that Bruce Lee was a brilliant businessman, right? You know, in over the years, in large part due to people like Joseph Powell and James Bishop, we come to find out that the writings in the Tao come from other sources. There's this one documentary where the camera goes to Bruce Lee's original bookshelves, and you see stuff there on how to be a salesman, how to be a better filmmaker, personal development stuff, what some people might even call, like spiritual stuff and what have you. And so when I see all the multiple sources for Bruce Lee stuff, right, that's where I start to think about him as a businessman. But then his how should I put this? He has all the knowledge about business, but then he downplays it. And I think that ends up, it wasn't his intention, but it ends up being a disservice to his descendants. As opposed to, if he had emphasized the business aspect of it, that's one way that Jeet Kune Do schools could be more popular and more prominent. You see what I'm saying?
I do. I didn't know that.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that, and makes a lot of sense.
So have you ever seen the picture of Bruce Lee's business cards, for example?
I've seen his card somewhere. Yes, the card that had the Jeet Kune Do logo and all that. It was very elegant.
Yeah, and it was exactly. If you look around, you will see Bruce Lee's personal stationery was very elegant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that tells you this is a guy who knows the importance of proper presentation, right? The particular business card, it shows his rate as $275 an hour, which is, I think the last time I calculated it, it's either $1,300 or $2,300 an hour in 2026 money.
By inflation, yes.
Right? Okay. But here's the thing. Those were prices for Hollywood people.
Yes.
Right? So he's applying the principle, I've talked about this before, he's applying the principle of marketing to the affluent. He's pricing himself towards people who can afford his prices.
Nobody from the Chinatown school or the Oakland school or the Seattle school was paying $275 an hour, right? You know, so Bruce Lee knew how to position himself and how to charge what he was worth. And I think that those are important lessons that should have been transmitted to his descendants a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
That type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So you had told me that when you went back to the Tao, there's a section on pressure points, but it's all in Chinese. It's not in English, correct?
Correct.
Right? And you had it translated.
Yes. It's all pressure points that we know. Now, on the Tao, my book is the 1975 edition.
Okay.
Or at least that's what it says on the book.
Okay.
I got 2 copies, and it's the 1975.
Yeah.
That's so it's because I bought it in the 80s. Makes sense. See, so yeah. You must have that page. It's that page that shows the human body. It says points to strike.
Yeah.
And it has the legend in Chinese. Well, I took that picture, and then thanks to the AI translated for me. And when I saw the translation, I know that. See, so they're all pressure points.
Okay.
Why it's so easy? Because they're acupuncture points. It's the same.
Right. So okay. So let's explore. What was Bruce Lee doing with that, do you think?
He was putting in his book that you need to know where to strike to stop someone. He was saying, what is the I'm trying to remember size target points or something like that. He calls it in the book. I don't remember. I have to, but target points or vital points to attack and all that we all want. And then I don't mean to be controversial, but it is there. You know, it is there, and it's something that if you know acupuncture, right? All right, and some people don't buy it, and I respect that. I have had acupuncture. It's like everything else. A good doctor, a bad doctor, you gotta find someone that knows what he's doing. Acupuncture, it accelerates the healing process, okay? But the same points of acupuncture are the points that they use to destroy, to attack. And it is true because I have seen it. I have felt it, not for long. They 2 times, and yes, you go. Guru Dan talked about this in the 90s, late 90s. He said the knockout points. He said these people have something. What they don't have is a transportation system. Kali is a transportation system. And I have another one for you, Guru. Silat is the transportation system. But they don't teach it, neither the Kali nor the Silat guys to us in the West. Okay. So I had to go to another source when they told me, yes, this is, and I just went like, oh, thank you.
Right. Yeah.
I just.
Well, that's part of the process that Inosanto teaches and talks about, because, okay, now you're a member of the Francis Fong Instructor Association, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever sat down and analyzed what Francis Fong is doing?
Yes. And I have the pleasure to talk to him one-on-one, and he's just amazing. Just amazing. Not just as a human being, not to mention martial arts. We know Guru Dan said in one of the seminars, he said it, Guru Dan, after Bruce Lee, Sifu Francis is the real thing. And Sifu Francis wants to preserve Wing Chun, which is a beautiful style. Of course, we have alternate motives. It's the foundation of Jeet Kune Do. Thank you for reminding me. I went back to my book, and there it is in Guru Dan's book, and I just went like, everybody's learning Wing Chun in my school now.
Okay.
If they don't, my students whom I love, if they don't practice Wing Chun, they're gonna get it in Jeet Kune Do. I'm sorry, it's part of the curriculum. I just do it from the boxing stance, but it is Wing Chun.
Right,
Sifu
right.
Francis, the way I look at it so far, besides the beauty of trapping, he's taking it a step beyond, but there's something important there. As he says all the time, it's about structure. There are thousands of techniques. It's about structure. You need to have a structure.
Mhm.
Because techniques you can learn many, but you need the structure. How does that sound like?
Right.
Jeet Kune Do principles.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can talk about Jeet Kune Do concepts, but I would like, now I can say it, before I couldn't. How about JKD principles? Because that's
Yeah.
what we do. And
Yeah.
that is the same. And that's what Guru Dan meant with concepts. I guarantee you, he meant principles. And then what are we arguing about? Semantics and teaching method. That's all. But at the end, it's all the same.
Right. I'm actually in the middle of a discussion right now on Facebook about that, because it seems as if there are people out there who believe that what Inosanto was doing and teaching and saying is, oh, I'll teach you Kali, and that's how you'll find Jeet Kune Do. And I'm like, no, he never did that. He never did that. When it
Never.
was a specific aspect of Kali that was related to Jeet Kune Do, that was it. But he was never saying that all of Kali is Jeet Kune Do. There are certain aspects that they have in common. Same thing in Silat. Same thing in Muay Thai. It's finding the common thread. It's finding the areas of commonality. But apparently that lesson was lost on these people.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
there's a DVD, Guru, The World of Martial Arts. And Guru Dan is showing this progression is Jeet Kune Do, is the same progression Kali, and this is the same progression in Silat.
mm-hmm.
And he does that in seminars all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So Kali and JKD are very close. Again, there goes the principles.
Right. But now let me ask you this. Are Kali and JKD actually close, or did Dan Inosanto highlight a closeness of the two? In other words, if it's not Dan Inosanto teaching the Filipino martial art, will someone else theorize about the closeness of Kali and JKD? If it's not him, or somebody descended or influenced or taught by him. In other words, right? In training Pakiti Tersha, has anybody who is pure Pakiti Tersha ever talked about Jeet Kune Do?
No, well, the thing is that our opinions are going to be skewed because I learned Pakiti Tersha from one of Guru Dan's instructors. See, one of Guru instructors under Guru Dan. See, so he was already influenced from Guru Dan, and he said, out of all my instructors, the most influential was Guru.
Right. Okay.
So on that regard, so my Pakiti Tersha came already influenced.
Right.
So that's
okay.
one. Now
we learn that defeats my question, right?
Yeah. Well, but if we were to do it, let's say that we don't have Guru Dan. If we were to do it and we start to do guntings, if you do a guntings and then you lower and do a back hammer, that's what you're going to do with the knife, right? We're going to do gunting with the knife and then come back. See, gunting and come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, I'm sorry, that is split entry with Kwa Choi. Because the arms have to move in certain way. We only have two arms and two legs.
Right.
So if you and I we didn't have Gurdan, we start to look at, hey, look at what Kali does empty hand without the knives. You're gonna fall close to John Fan Kung Fu. I'm sorry, it's gonna be trapping, just like Valentu Wak is trapping with the stick, and Wing Chun is trapping without the stick. Blah blah blah. So those similarities still. But if I may, Guru, it was around 2009, around that time, I said, Guru, the more I train, I'm looking so many similarities in the systems that I am learning. And he told me, yes, Ulysses, the more you learn it, they start to link up.
Right.
See? And there you have it. Even without Guru Dan, when you go deeper into Kali, into Silat, you are going to find a JKD. And the same is true. If you do the trapping from JKD and put a knife on your hands, what are you going to find? You're going to find Kali. So, and that is one of the things that caused me troubles, Guru, because I did it innocently. I just said, hey, this is pretty cool. And they would look at me, no. Like when I was doing Puño Sombrada, then I learned Tapi Tapi, which is a drill from the Kiritirsha. And I saw Tapi Tapi. I said, oh, that's Puño Sombrada. I said, no, that's Tapi Tapi. And I go, okay. And I just, but of course the engineer got me to throw that's
right.
Puño Sombrada.
Yeah. Well, that's Dan Inosanto inadvertently getting you in trouble. You know what I mean? Right?
Yes.
Because last weekend over at Cass Magda's place, he was telling us how, Inosanto, especially probably more so in the old days than nowadays, right? Inosanto would immediately, as soon as he learned something in one system, he's immediately seeing how it could fit into another system. So he could take something that let's say originally he came across in Pikiti Tersha, or something that he immediately came across that he first initially came across in Doce Pares. And his brain is going to find a way to link them up. And then he goes out and he teaches it. So then we get it as like a package. And then people from other systems are like, wait, that looks a little bit like my system. Right?
Do I need to get the light? Yeah. So they don't think that I'm hiding. I do think, Guru, that also we are already, after training under Guru for so many years, we're going to do it instinctively without him telling us. So when I'm doing Silat, I do that all the time. I say, hey guys, look at Silat. And then I just cannot prevent. And if I find myself in trouble in a progression from a system, I'm changing. Hey, Guru, was that Silat? I say no, but that's okay. Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to draw and use the tools when available and when the timing is correct.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question and recommend you do something. All right. What happens if you don't name what you're doing? What if you don't name the art or the system that it's from as you do it? What happens?
I train in that environment I'm going to tell you, I train in that environment that you just described since 1993 to 96, and then since 2002 through 2007, and still the way to 2008 when I came to Indianapolis from St. Louis. So I am very familiar with that. I was the one saying, hey, that's that. No, just do it. And they didn't want to call it anything. I tell my students, if I teach you like that instructor, like Guru Bruce taught me, I wouldn't have any students. Because every class was different. Every class was, and he constantly mixed. And he said, there's no martial arts. There's only one martial art. It's all the same.
I
It's
agree
all
with
the
him.
same but different.
I agree with him on that.
And I am very, very, very familiar with that concept. I was the one who broke it apart, but I can put it back together. So it's an accordion.
Okay. Yeah. See, because I think again that, so we have this 40-year-old argument between original Jeet Kune Do and Jeet Kune Do concepts and what have you. And I'm starting to realize that the people who argue against Dan Inosanto, they actually don't understand. They really lack a deep understanding of what it is that was going on. But anyhow, I think that one of the things that worked against him inadvertently was that he fell into the given credit where it's due, given paying respects to where the information came from. And by naming arts and what have you, the less intelligent people started thinking, right? Well, he's saying that these arts are what go to make up Jeet Kune Do.
Yes.
As opposed to, well, no, he's just saying, well, look at this, look at that, look at how they work together. So once you realize that, look at how these two things from different arts work together, the name of the art disappears. Because now you're just looking at the tools. You're just looking at how the tools work together. So there's no name. Or the name is Jeet Kune Do, which is an art that focuses on what? How things work together.
And the question is...
So the question is, right? Should we name them or not name them? When?
Well,
Or
the answer is given by Bruce Lee.
Okay.
And the answer is given by Guru Dan also.
Okay, what's the answer?
Remember, when we were learning martial arts, a kick was just a kick and a punch was just a punch. When we started learning, oh no, a kick is not just a kick.
Right.
A punch is not, and then when we learn it, okay, that's the progression. At the end of the day, all right, it doesn't matter what you call it. We're gonna react. When it gets real, and hopefully it won't get real, we have to react.
Right.
And when we react, what it comes out is our nature, our mindset, our will for survival.
You mean what
And
Bruce Lee would call?
We're gonna draw what's our innate abilities.
You mean personal expression?
You can call it, but it's not artistic because we're not like in a ring fighting and no, we're talking about survival, two different things. Even in my opinion, Caesar was talking about the artistic part, an expression of yourself. Yes, the way we fight is an expression of ourselves. The way we move, we describe shape, form, line, and texture, like art. Yes, we do. But it's different when we're gonna react and survival is at stake. That's a different thing, in my opinion. Then what's gonna come out is our defense, and what's gonna come out is it doesn't have a name. We're gonna react.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you saying that personal expression? It sounds as if you're saying that personal expression is supposed to be automatically pretty.
It can be.
I don't think so at all.
I'm not saying, I don't mean to say that. What I mean is personal expression is who we are. All right. How we express ourselves. It has nothing to do with beauty. No.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is that personal expression is different from survival expression.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No. You know why it isn't? Because who's doing the surviving? The person.
Mhm.
So if the
Okay.
right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
so
I
how
understand
so yeah, so how is my personal expression in survival mode? It can't be anybody else's expression but mine.
Yes. Let me see how I defend against this one. I would say when it comes to actual survival, when your life is in danger, you're not worried about personal expression. You're just surviving. Thought ceases to exist. You're surviving, you're reacting, like the Tao says, you're reacting. You're beyond personal expression, you're reacting. It doesn't care, you don't care about personal expression. You have to react. The technique has to come out.
Okay.
And
all right. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's survival expression. That's what you're describing. Survival expression. Okay. So, all right. So maybe I missed it earlier. Describe personal expression then.
Now we have to fall into the art realm. Yeah. Personal expression. Yeah. How we express ourselves as human beings. Okay.
But we're talking martial art. We're talking in a martial art context.
In the martial art context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Personal expression. Yes. How we fight. How the techniques we choose. And how we deliver them. And our mindset in delivering those techniques. That's personal expression. You know, the way we kick, the way we punch, the way we trap, the way we go to the ground, the way we survive the ground, the way all that. The techniques that we choose is what works for us, and we're gonna express them in the manner that fits our personality. To me, that's personal expression. I'm not gonna be worried about that when my life is in danger. That's all I'm trying to say.
I don't see a separation.
Okay.
I don't see a separation. Because what am I preparing for as I train and practice that which works for me? Is it preparation for a show or a display or a demonstration? Or is it a preparation for survival?
So what could we say this? Then now let me try to understand. Then the way we react when survival is the aim is our personal expression. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. I'll buy that.
Yeah, I'm saying there's no.
I'll buy that.
Survival expression is an aspect of personal expression.
Agreed. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. See, this is what I do, or this is not what I do. This is what has happened to me over the years because of the conversations I have with my Jeet Kune Do seniors. Because of the conversations I have with people who literally lived with Dan Inosanto. These are the things, right? And the conversations with them, one of the end results is a deeper appreciation for Dan Inosanto and his mind. You see? Because so much of our understanding ultimately comes from having been on the receiving end of his instruction.
Yes.
You see?
Oh, yeah.
That's why if you have a chance to ask him a question, ask it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Last time I was going to ask, yeah,
right?
Exactly.
What were you going to ask him the last time you wanted to?
I don't remember. I don't
Oh,
remember.
okay.
I was stopped.
Yeah. You know, I hate those gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No, I know. See, because the thing is that I think you got to be careful. If you're at a seminar, for example, you know, you shouldn't ask questions in an obtrusive manner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Hopefully your question is gonna benefit almost everybody in the room, right? You know, but like I sometimes when I look around the room and I see people performing in a particular way, I want to ask him if their performance is what he's really after, or does he want it to look another way? You know, because he's so nice that he'll compliment everybody.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, and to be honest, sometimes the way people do stuff, it's like, well, no, that's not it yet. That's not exactly how, because again, okay, you know him since the 90s. So you know him since in let's say his late 50s, early 60s. So you remember how he moved, right? So my basic, Ulysses, my basic contention is this. If you get called up to demonstrate in front of Dan Inosanto, you better do something that's related to how he moved when he was younger. Unless you're also 89 years old.
Yeah.
But none of us are 89 years old, not yet,
Nope.
right? So the privilege and the honor of being asked to demonstrate in front of him, that is, look, so when I was with Cass Magda last weekend, he talked a little bit about the role, the importance of the assistant, because the assistant's job, or one of his jobs, is to highlight the art, and to a certain extent is to sell the art.
Sure.
Right? It's to make sure people understand how it would work, how what is being demonstrated would work. So anybody who gets called up to demonstrate at a seminar, at instructor conference, or whatever, you are now essentially his assistant. So you got to sell the art. And my formula for that is go back to, as close as you can, how a prime Inosanto did stuff. You see what I mean?
I agree with that. Yes, I do.
Right?
Yes.
It's got to be like that, to the best of your ability. Even better if you get to demo with him. Now, you don't blast him because he's 89 years old. Okay? But here, just between me and you, I think if you were to turn it on him, he would love it.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Right? Can you imagine?
That would be awesome.
Right? Imagine, because so a few months ago, we were out there, and I forget, I don't remember what we went out for, but there was a camera crew filming him for something. And at one point, they asked him to just move with the stick in front of the camera, right? So he's essentially doing Carenza, and I'm watching him. And I'm like it's going on 3 minutes that he's just constantly been moving. And I'm thinking, you're not 89. Not at all. You know what I mean? And he just kept it up. Right? And I thought, oh my God. I think the problem is these people don't know that he's 89 years old, and they shouldn't let him go for so long.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, so that's why I think, man, if you demonstrate with him, I think if you put it on him a little bit, I think he would love it.
Wow. I gotta think about that. At the last October and the year before, not this past October, the year before, when we were demonstrating, they don't call it a test, but on Saturday test us to make sure we're doing our homework. I just on the John fan, I just did it fast. I just as fast as I could because for that reason. But I would never do it with him. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
no, I don't think that,
right. No, and I'm not
I would be too afraid of making a mistake,
Right. Yeah. No, I'm not advocating for like literally blasting an 89-year-old man. Right. But I think you don't have to treat him like if he's about to fall over. And I saw somebody do that. Right. And in doing that, I know that the guy's intentions are good, but in doing that, you end up demonstrating the technique
poorly.
Yes. So you have to find the medium. You have to find that happy medium.
That's interesting.
Right?
I haven't demonstrated with him in a long time. Just that one time in Dallas with the knife, one time with trapping, So, but no, I haven't in a long time.
I'll tell you another story about being with Cas Magda. So it was a thing about like Chisa with a person, and how if you spend time in energy drills with a person, then you learn their feel. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So there was a guy, and I guess he was on a movie set or something, and Dan Inosanto was there. And somehow they ended up doing, I think if I have the story correctly, they ended up doing like Chisao or something. And Inosanto says to the guy, he goes, "You train with Cas Magda." And the guy goes, "Yeah." Because the guy is actually one of the first people that Cas made a full instructor. But Inosanto could tell from the feel of the guy's hands that it was Cas that trained him. Isn't that amazing? Amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah.
Right?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is tremendous.
So that's why I think that Dan Inosanto still has all of this energy running inside him. So you don't have to treat him like a wallflower or what have you. You find a happy medium and you put it on, and because then he'll know what your feel is. But if you're all gentle and whatever, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
You see?
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
Okay. So before we go, you and I actually had the idea of getting together on the dialogues because a few months ago we got into an exchange that was I think it grew out of the Jeet Kune Do round table that I had done, where I was talking about how JKD owns MMA. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so go reiterate the points that you thought were important about that whole discussion of the link between Jeet Kune Do and MMA.
Well, it was your influence. I just listened to you and I go, of course, but I have already entertained the idea and I have already heard it from Guru. Because Guru said it more than once. He said it before they call it MMA. He said some people were talking. He said before they call it MMA, okay, we call it shoot wrestling. Okay. I don't know who it was, but Guru said, and then the question said, and before we call it shoot wrestling, we call it Jeet Kune Do. So your idea just unearthed that idea that I have heard before.
Okay.
So the way you put it, I said, he's right. Now, when I ask you and then you answer, you said, you kind of, you said, no, because it's not a sport. And it was not created by the same people. People could have come up with the same ideas on a different time. I don't deny any of that.
Mhm.
I do not.
Mhm.
And that's why I wrote those notes that I had. One of them, yes, mixed martial arts have always existed. You know, I cited during the Roman Colosseum, they had to fight, you know, with whatever they were mixing stuff because they were slaves from all over, all races and all countries. The Romans enslaved everybody they defeated.
Mhm.
So you had different fighting systems there. So yes, it was a comment that one of the comments they made when you were saying that, well, there have always been mixed martial arts. Okay, I said yes, okay. But then I say, like you said, the first time we saw something resembling MMA was in Enter the Dragon.
Right.
And with shorts, just with shorts and nothing else. So right there you see similarities, okay?
Right.
And then in the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, you might say, I don't know if it came from other sources, but you see there techniques from judo, jiu-jitsu,
Mhm.
wrestling,
Mhm.
and grappling. And he says that we should look into grappling. And the position he's at, we've seen them in ground fighting, okay, including BJJ. So right there, 1972, all right?
Mhm.
So based on that, what I said, okay, look at that. Look at the what we used to call a shoe wrestling and then Jeet Kune Do, you know. And Bruce Lee was already looking into grappling. He showed us in his movies. He was looking into other martial arts and he was mixing them, okay, not as a sport, as a martial arts.
Right.
Then I say the greater includes the great. The great is a subset of the greater. Like it's an idea from that the Tao says the same.
Mhm.
You digressing. You cannot be anti-form. To be anti-form, you have to understand form. Okay, so it's the same with MMA. Jeet Kune Do is the greater. MMA is a subset.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to take away anything from anyone. The guy who came up with the idea, wonderful. But many people realize we could tell the fact that I discovered gravity. Okay, and then came Newton and put it together with all his equations. I still came up with the idea. But Newton said, no, this is my work. Yes, granted. Newton did the laws of physics and blah, blah, blah. But still the idea was with Galileo.
Yeah.
But Galileo didn't market it. See what I mean? So based on that, I don't have a problem and I don't have a doubt in my mind that MMA, it was inspired by Jeet Kune Do. We just don't say it. We just don't say it, but it was inspired. Did it evolve from it? Perhaps evolve is a problem. You corrected the word. Context is important. It's a bad word. Maybe it didn't evolve, but the idea, the original idea is Jeet Kune Do. MMA is basically a natural progression from Jeet Kune Do. Maybe didn't follow that path, but it comes from Jeet Kune Do.
Well, in terms of not following the path, I think what it is, perhaps the best accurate description is that it is the sport application of the Jeet Kune Do mindset.
I would have to agree with that.
You see?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right. It's almost 8 p.m. Old men like me have to go to bed early. Right? So, any famous last words for people out there, Ulises?
Just in my opinion, it is now. It's about the students, and I want them to keep up the training and keep growing.
There you go.
That's why we're here.
There you go. All right. Well, listen, my friend, I'm sure I will see you somewhere around the circuit pretty soon.
I think so.
Right? Okay. All right. So until that next time, great talking to you. Right? I was really looking forward to this. Sorry that we had to put it off for a couple of weeks and what have you, but you know, when I get that travel bug, man, it's hard to keep me down.
No problem.
All right. So take care and we will talk again soon. All right.
Thank you, Guru. Take care.
Okay, man. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.